It's one of the sort of secrets about this place is that most of what we do is bipartisan, and there are many bills that are unanimous or mostly unanimous, and even the ones that aren't, we're often working together on amendments or trying to incorporate ideas. Nobody has the market cornered on good ideas, whether you're from one party or the other. So we do try to work together where we can and often succeed. But at the same time, where there are issues where we have disagreements, we're not shy about that either. If it's something for gun violence prevention or access to reproductive health services, those are things that most Washingtonians support, Senate Democrats support. We have a philosophical divide with the Republicans on that one. Those are going to be party line and a few others, but that's really the exception rather than the rule. Housing is probably the number one issue on our agenda this year, and I know for the cities as well is a very high priority item. And it's something that affects every community in Washington state right now. So we have to be partners, we have to work together. The bad news is that most of what we do on housing takes years to actually turn into a door opening and somebody moving into a unit. The good news is we've been really investing big for the last 3 years and working with our partners at cities and counties as well on policies to help housing. So there's a lot coming online because of that, but we know that we just need so much more. I think the middle housing bill and the transit-oriented development bill, these bills alone aren't going to do it. And so we need those, but we also need the dramatic investments in affordable housing and the Housing Trust Fund that both the House and Senate proposed capital budgets have, and a lot more. It's going to be many pieces to put together this puzzle to help make housing more accessible and more affordable for every Washingtonian. I think the biggest source for affordable housing is the Housing Trust Fund, and the proposed capital budgets have record levels of that. But we know that's not enough, even though if that's the major source. So I think that's probably one of the major topics of the last few weeks is, are we going to do even more? We're at historic levels with these budgets that have been proposed, but are we going to do even more? We'll put a lot of time and energy into that over the next few weeks. It's a very important program to make sure that we are helping to put that infrastructure in place, which we know not only creates construction jobs, but also really builds the foundations of our economies and our quality of life for the future. So it's vitally important. It was a high priority over the last couple years to restore at least most of the diversions that had been done over the last few years. So I think we definitely want to keep the Public Works Trust Account as whole as we can, and I was really glad to see that both budgets did that. So many of the city officials that I talk to just are doing it already and doing it well, but it's just building the relationships, which is easier to do actually when we're out of session, and then using those relationships with the calls and emails, visits, text messages to get the updates. There are tremendous lobbyists here. AWC has a great lobbying team, but we want to hear also from our local people. So I represent Spokane. While it's important for me to know what the statewide city perspective is, I represent 150,000 people in Spokane. I want to know the Spokane perspective. So sometimes people will say things like, hey, I hate to bother you, but can I talk to you about this? Like, it's not bothering me, it's my job, and it's essential for me to do my job effectively for those city officials and really stakeholders throughout my district to stay in touch with me, to give me they're the experts. We deal with like 10,000 different issues here, and we're all experts in like 3 of them. So if we don't hear from the people who are the experts or who are on the ground working for the cities or in other areas, we're never going to be able to do a good job of representing our communities. So stay in touch.